Here's a little story. 20 years ago, Christy and Billy, they each earned $3,000 a month. They each had an average income increase over the last 20 years. Christy adopted a philosophy where she spent her money and saved what was left. Billy adopted a philosophy where he saved his money and spent what was left. Today, 20 years later, Christy has no money and Billy has lots of money. This goes to show you that people who have the wrong money plan, well, let's just say they don't end up in a good place. If you look at your bank account right now and you're not happy, well, you've tuned in to the right place because we're going to teach you how to change that. I have a question. If you could have enough money and actually retire right now, would you? Since most of you would say yes, let's go on that. If only I could have $1 million. Gosh, I'd never work again. Well, let's see. If you just totally lived off the $1 million, well, let's see, that breaks down to, let's say, $4,000 a month. 900 of that will go easily on groceries. 3,000 would go to bills. And so, yeah, you're surviving, but it's not the nicest life. The reality is, if you're 27 now, in 25 years, you'll be 52 and dead broke. Million gone. If you're 45 now, in 25 years, you'll be 60 and dead broke. Millions gone. So you had $1 million, but since there's a cost to life, you're not going to get to keep it. I'm teaching you all this because in order for you not to fall into financial ruin, it's important to stay cash flow positive. In other words, make sure there's not more money going out than coming in. But to stay in this position, you gotta be making enough cash to cover all of your expenses. So let's say that you're single and you are cash flow positive. But later, you get into a relationship and you start a family. Naturally, your expenses are gonna increase. Now, if you get a promotion or establish another stream of revenue, and luckily your income increases to match your new familial expenses, well then, in this case, everyone lives happily ever after. But what if, well, you just love babies so much, and you just keep adding more babies? Obviously, your expenses will keep increasing, and at some point, it's all going to exceed your income. Before you know it, you're now cash flow negative. The point is, before you even have a chance to brace yourself, you've joined the 65 and older poverty group of people, which, by the way, is most Americans. You'll work hard the rest of your life trying to play catch-up, 65, but dead broke. And worse is that by the time you're 65, you no longer have the means to get yourself out of poverty. At $40,000 a year, did you know you will have made $1 million in 25 years? At $50,000 a year, did you know you will have made $1 million in 20 years? And at $80,000 a year, did you know you will have made $1 million in 12 and a half years? And you guessed it, at $160,000 a year, did you know you will have made $1 million in 6 years? But none of this money will ever be in your hands unless you're living on 60% of your net income and banking or saving 40% of each paycheck. And how about this? Jim owns his own business. He owns a landscaping company. He earns $45,000 a year. Ken works for corporate America. He earns $58,000 a year. So then, which one of these gentlemen is better off? Jim or Ken? Neither, because $45,000 and $58,000 isn't enough money. I mean, right? Because how can that be enough if a while ago $1 million wasn't enough? You see, you can work hard your whole life and end up 65 or 80 and dead broke. I have an idea. In 2022, do all you can to go from $45,000 to $55,000. Save 40% of that $55,000, and that'll give you $22,000. In the year 2023, do all you can to go from $55,000 to $65,000. Save 40% of that $65,000, and you'll have $26,000. In the year 2024, do all you can to go from $65,000 to $75,000. Save 40% of that $75,000, and you'll have $30,000 saved away. But what would happen if... So let's see. Let's say that right now you're at $45,000. If you increased your income by $10,000 for the next 3 years, this would mean that in the year 2022, your earnings would be $55,000. Now, saving 40% of that would be $22,000. In the year 2023, we increase our income yet again by $10,000, and now we're earning $65,000. Saving 40% of that, we now have saved $26,000. And in the year 2024, increasing our income by $10,000 yet again, now we're earning $75,000. And putting away 40% of that, that would give us $30,000. In 3 years, you will have saved $78,000. Just in 3 years. Can you believe it? Nobody has to live the next 3 years the way they did the last 3 years. All right, let's do this again. So let's say that after these wonderful 3 years, we do this again for another 3 years. So, for the next 3 years, year 2025, year 2026, and year 2027, you're now earning $75,000 a year. And you continue to save 40% of that. This means that in these additional 3 years, you will have earned $225,000. This also means that for these same latter 3 years or additional 3 years, you've actually saved an additional $90,000. That's $90,000 saved on top of the original $78,000 saved for a grand total of $168,000 saved. Look at your bank account right now. Compare what you've got in the account right now to $168,000. You, my dear, do not have to live the next 6 years of your life the way you lived the last 6 years. The key to financial independence is you gotta have a target, 0 debt, and remain cash positive at all cost. Mama said, "Now, honey, money ain't everything, child." Yeah, but neither is being broke. The reality is, bad things happen to good people. Who out there thinks health is more important than money? Yeah, well, me too. Except it takes $600,000 to treat cancer. And so, we're back to money again. The people who get the money thing right in life aren't smarter or any luckier. They were simply taught the right money plan. To some, financial freedom means having enough to cover expenses so that they can spend their precious time with their precious families. For others, financial freedom means having more than enough money in order to impact the world. You see, the people who choose to have more than enough money have a duty to create businesses and create jobs. Personally, in my life, I didn't want financial freedom so I could retire. I wanted financial freedom so that I could gain the mental freedom to help people with their lives and futures. So in order to stay cash flow positive, let's take a look at this next chart. Here we go. Let's get this right front and center. Let's focus on the very top row here. Here we have a column titled Earn, Save, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and 20 years. On this second row, it starts here with a $40,000 a year income. So the way this reads is, if you earn $40,000 and you save 40% of that, that's your target, remember? You'll have $16,000 saved in the bank in only 1 year. If you save 40% of $40,000 a year for 5 years, you'll have $80,000 saved in the bank. If you save 40% of $40,000 a year, in 10 years, you'll have $160,000 saved in the bank. If you save 40% of $40,000, in 15 years, you'll have $240,000 saved in the bank. And if you save 40% of $40,000, in 20 years, you'll have $320,000 saved in the bank. Let's jump on down to the $83,000 earnings a year. Okay, so here we have, if we save 40% of $83,000 a year, that'll give us $33,200 saved in the bank in 1 year. And in 5 years, we'll have $166,000. In 10 years, we'll have $332,000 saved. And here we go with 15 years. At 15 years, we'll have $498,000. That's just a couple of thousand shy from $500,000. This is wild. Isn't this fun? Now I know that that's a lot of money, that this is a little bit far-fetched. Or is it? If you think that medical coders can't earn this, they absolutely can. This is crazy. Oh my goodness, can you believe this? Try to keep your eyes in your head. I know, because every time I share this with somebody, they lose it. But okay, seeing all this is extremely motivating. We gotta get moving. Now the most immediate thing you can do is to look for ways to reduce your expenses. But that good old American dream. Let's all get married, get the house, get the dog, get the babies. Well, that's all fine, so long as you can figure out a way to bring your income up to where your expenses are. Because the fact of the matter is, one baby is gonna cost you $233,000 to the age of 18, and that's without the cost of inflation. But what about the 40% target? 2 babies will cost you $466,000. But what about the 40% target? 3 babies will cost you $700,000. But what about the 40% target? And so this now explains that every time someone tells me that they're pregnant, I'm like the only person who gets the biggest expression of sheer horror on my face. Again, because most people work hard their whole lives and end up broke. Not because they didn't work hard, but due to lack of knowledge. I mean, do you really have to have another one? You already got one. Just get the one and that's it. Your greatest challenge isn't gonna be your competition. I'm telling you, right now, your greatest challenge is gonna be, I gotta go pick up my kid. But now don't get me wrong. I mean, listen, if you can get your money to where it needs to be and still hit that target, well then, knock yourself out. And so speaking of that, for starters, we need to stop all the senseless expenses. I mean, think about it. We'll go and spend $80 a month on coffee over at the Starbucks. That's easily $1,000 a year on that. We don't have any emergency money, but we got to get them nails done. We don't have no money saved, but we got to get that hair done. And then we'll all go and spend $1,000 a year on the latest iPhone. Don't have no savings, but gotta have the latest cell phone? Are you kidding? But what about the target? You mean you got a target and you're excited it's Friday? You mean you got a target and you're working part-time hours? Uh-huh. So you've got a target and you're not getting more credentials? Look, if you don't think twice about dropping $1,000 on coffee, nails, hair, and the latest cell phone, all of which will never last, how can you possibly sit there and pout about making lifelong investments in yourself for an everlasting skill set with an actual ROI or return of investment? You're joking, right? This all makes sense, right? Okay, good. Well, here's exactly what to do to make your services more valuable and get your money closer to where it needs to be. I mean, it's pretty clear that we need some surplus income. But how do we get it? Look, it's fine that your employer signs your paycheck, so long as you control your income. The CPC will get you the job. But the other credentials, the other alphabet soup, those are going to be what's going to make you more marketable, more promotable, and competitive. You say, well, I don't have any savings because of my employer. No, honey, it's not because of your employer. Take an inventory of what you have to offer them. Do you really have a ton to offer? Your employer doesn't make you more valuable. You do. So with that in mind, would you rather look like this or like this? Number 1, will I pass the exam? Number 2, when will these courses launch? And number 3, should I get experience first? All right, here we go. The first thing I need to mention is that every credential course I'm about to go through has already been proven as highly successful. Proven because MCA has been teaching these courses for quite a few years, but we're just now putting them online. While the CPC course had let's say an 87% pass rate, give or take, on the first try, all the other courses I'm about to show you have actually had a 97% pass rate. All right, so the CRC, COC, CPMA will each be launching this year, 2021, one right after another. Again, so these 3 courses, CRC, COC, CPMA, come out this year in 2021. And then in the first quarter of 2022, we'll be launching CPCO and CPPM. And again, every one of these have already been proven as very, very successful courses, as we said, with a 97% pass rate. The cost for each course is $11.99. But here in a bit, I'm actually going to teach you how to pay even less for them, okay? So hang tight. The second item I wanted to cover was please send an email to Belen at info@medicalcodingacademy.org, or you can send her a text, whichever is easier, 469-877-0881, and just let her know which courses that you're interested in. She's going to add you to a list, and then anything and everything that happens with regard to that particular course, you'll be the first to know. Super quick, some other fun slides. Take a look at this chart. You'll see the AAPC information in green and the AHIMA information in pink. All stats were taken directly from their websites. But yes, this chart tells you the average pay for each credential. Keep in mind, the pay tends to decrease a little if you're brand new. But it also gives you all the testing information you need. You're welcome. This next slide gives you the income by region. And the last one, same thing, but even more specific. By the way, if you'd like these stats in a graphic form, be sure and join the Go-To-Coders Facebook forum page. Oh, and look, this is actually a great slide to pause on. Number 1, because you need to keep track of when the pre-sale promotions end, but also this one's very exciting because here you can see the launch dates. Those are the latest possible dates. They can absolutely launch ahead of time. But once you ask Belen to put you on the list, just know you'll be receiving all the updates, so you'll be the first to know if anything gets moved up. The only prerequisite for all of these courses is either the CPC from AAPC or the CCSP from AHIMA. Other than that, you can do whatever course you want, when you want, literally in whatever order you want. The reason for this is because we are extremely strategic about each and every course that we've built, being very, very careful not to cause any type of confusion. All right, so because of this extreme organization and strategy, this also means you can take the courses and exams literally back to back. You say, Miss Ortega, should I go ahead and get some experience first? My answer is no. No way. Get as many as you can under your belt as quickly as possible. Let me share why. Okay, here we go. You're sitting over at work right now, having a wonderful old time, just coding along, when all of a sudden your manager says, "Hello, department. We have a promotion available for someone that can code facility records. Does anyone in the department currently have a COC?" Can you imagine having this opportunity and missing out on it because you didn't get the COC ahead of time? You're sitting over at work right now, having a wonderful old time just billing along, when all of a sudden your manager says, "Hi, department, we have a promotion available for someone that can do some auditing. Does anyone here in the department have a CPMA?" I mean, can you imagine having to pass up something like this? I mean, just so we're clear, there are pay increases, right? All right, you're sitting over at work right now, having a wonderful old time just coding and billing along, when all of a sudden your manager says, "Well, hello, department. We have a promotion available for someone that can do some risk adjustment coding. Does anyone here in the department have a CRC?" Okay, so does that make sense? I think you got it. I promised you a way to get the courses at the pre-sale cost. As seen on the slide, if you request the bronze package, your one credential goes from $11.99, seen at the top, to $10.99, seen at the bottom. Your two credentials go from $2,398 to $1,800. That comes to about $900 for each course. If you request the gold package, your three credentials go from $3,597 to $2,400. That's unbelievable. That's seriously just $800 for each course. And if you go for the platinum package, your four credentials go from $4,796 to $2,800. Oh my goodness, that's literally $700 for each course. Like I said, pause on each credential slide and read through the bulleted descriptions. Study them because you've got to figure out which credentials you would like to attain. Once you know which ones and how many, send an email to the email address seen on the slide. Be sure and copy or follow the exact template seen here on the slide. The $200 deposit is what is gonna lock in the sale prices. And by the way, the $200 deposit does go towards the balance. And upon paying your account in full, we're gonna ship you the study guide that goes with that course. The book is included with your sale price. Oh, and one more thing before I forget. Please, you do not need to purchase any additional study guides or practice questions from any other entities, as these courses, our courses, are all inclusive. The whole reason we keep our prices low and even lower with all the sale prices is to help you save. You've got that 40% target, remember? If you go and buy all these unnecessary additionals, well then the whole saving you money just became pointless. All right? These are all-inclusive courses, and so that means you won't need anything else from anyone else. Okay? Of course we're going to take good care of you. You should know our reputation by now. And before you ask, yes, I will be the teacher for every one of these courses. Aw, thank y'all so much for always asking about that. But in case I forgot anything, just be sure and read the sample email seen here on this slide, because if you have an additional question, chances are it's already been covered on this slide. The COC. Honestly, this is one of the most exciting courses out of the whole bunch. I'm in love with this one because I actually do, an in-depth breakdown of every single modifier, physician and facility-based modifiers. Just that alone is worth the entire cost of the course. But it only gets better from there. Brace yourselves, because I also do an incredible, super deep dive into coding from the operative report. Yeah, but no, these are real-world operative reports from several different types of entities. I tell you, we had to work our behinds off to get our hands on some real-world operative reports. The op reports you're going to see in this course are going to range from surgical centers to emergency rooms, all the way to hospitals, just like what they test you on, and also just like what you'll see in the real world. But yes, I do break down every inch of these operative reports, and I teach you exactly how to abstract what to look for, what doesn't matter, what doesn't mean anything, and what, for goodness sakes, you have got to have. And once again, just these lessons, these operative report cases alone is worth the entire price. Okay, so the COC course is just a must. All right, so please pause this slide and read every single bullet listed here. I really want you to know everything that we're going to be targeting in that course. Okay, so pause when you need to, but I'm moving on. All right, the next course up is the CPMA. Oh man, how about this one? What can I say? I mean, if you want to know exactly what it's gonna be like to actually audit, well then, you're in for it. I'm gonna take you to case after case after case. You're gonna feel like an investigator. The experience of each and every audit is gonna be like if you're holding a microscope in your hand the entire time. It's an absolute must, and the self-confidence you're gonna gain is it's literally priceless. By the way, I just want you to know that performing audits for a provider or a health plan, that's one thing, and that's awesome, and it's fun. But if you're gifted in the area of vocabulary and communication, my gosh, all I can say is get ready to join, not at first, okay, but quickly join the elite level of auditors. I mean, these auditors are so smooth, and not just in skill, but they're always very attractive too. I'm serious. They're about as attractive as their paychecks. 6 figures for sure on these types of auditors. Because once you do the lower level auditing, the very next step for you is auditing at the CMS or OIG level. All right, these are the guns I'm talking to you about. Again, don't forget to pause this slide so you can see exactly what it is that we're going to be targeting in the classroom. Oh, and now the CRC. All right, this is another showstopper credential. It has been quite the trend in the last few years, attractive to many because of the huge market of remote coding. Well, of course, the COCs and the CPMAs are also working a lot from home now because of the whole pandemic, but either way, it's just one hot commodity. The coding for this profession is ICD-CM only. Now, I personally have a love-hate relationship with that, but only because I really miss CPT. But that's just me. Most people have no problem with working with only the one code book. Now, these coders work a lot at health plans. You know, it's a really neat skill to take on because the credential allows for a lot of contract work, seasonal type projects. I mean, of course, you can do this full-time, but a lot of coders are doing their full-time jobs and taking on a CRC job as an additional source of income. Super smart. Again, be sure and pause this slide. It's important to really preview exactly what all we're going to be targeting together. Okay, and for these last two, the CPCO and the CPPM, these will launch in the first quarter of 2022. Okay, listen to me. Coupling the CPCO with the CPMA is just lovely. These are 2 peas in a pod, and with both, I mean, you are just all set. With the average income of the CPMA sitting at about $69,000 and the average income of the CPCO sitting at about $81,000, now do you see why you'd be one unstoppable force in the industry? This is just the top of the top. So please pause this slide and take a look-see. If everything we're going to target looks appealing to you, jump on this one too. All right, and here we have the CPPM. Now this is the one that I am just in love with. You know, to the moon and back. Because, because it's all about leadership. Did I ever mention how much I love to lead? These are the people who say what goes. Not the followers, but the leaders, the ones in control, the pave makers, the way makers. Basically, this professional runs the whole place. So if you're a natural-born shot caller, this one, my dear, is for you. You'll definitely be a jack of all trades in this role, from knowing business processes to workflows to medical office accounting, to revenue cycle, human resources, the list goes on. But basically, you're the physician's right arm, and everyone else's too. But yeah, you're just the boss. And I mean that too, because the majority of the time, the physicians actually ask you what to do. It's a total blast and extremely rewarding. Okay, so pause the slide and take a look. But I'm gonna tell you, if you're already melting, this one's no doubt for you.
Here I am. Firstly, the fact that you remained glued to the edge of your seat for this whole thing shows that you have guts enough to get serious about all of this. It really exposes the fact that you're a person with a real sense of valor. There's only one person who can ensure that you don't face poverty at 65, and it's not the economy, it's not the president, it's not your family or your friends. The only person is you. And I know that you're brave enough to know that. As we've seen, well-meaning, hard-working people with good intentions end up in financial ruin every single day due to the gravity of having wrong knowledge or no knowledge. And by the way, if you're a little lost right now, it's only because you're watching the short version of this. So I tell you, do yourself the biggest favor and ditch this video and go and see the one seen here. But I'll warn you, you've got to have guts to watch it. This is an extraordinary time, just to get into this field. And no, I don't mean soaking your feet in the water. I mean getting in neck deep. You are gonna get paid for the value that you bring to the marketplace, and you're gonna get paid for the value that you become. Get serious and be ready for any given opportunity. One of the toughest things I've seen in my career as a teacher are the gut-wrenching setbacks that our students suffer when an employer comes at them with a promotion, but because they failed to stack the alphabet soup behind their name, they get passed up. It's awful. I actually recorded a video on that a few years ago, if you want to check it out. But yes, missing skills, missing information, missing knowledge, that is not the way you want to be looking in an industry with such unprecedented opportunities. Every choice you make or don't make is gonna have an effect, because life is all about cause and effect. Listen, the difference between the professionals who earn the bigger income and the professionals who earn, the smaller ones, is that the bigger income crowd chose to earn more. They simply made a decision. Life has a way, listen to me, life has a way of rewarding highly decisive people with high returns. So do whatever it is that you got to do to make yourself as competitive as possible. The word never says if you're in need, you will sow. No, it says if you will plant, you will sow. And get this, Your rewards are always going to be in the exact proportion of your contributions. Results are only a reflection of what you become. And besides, just think about it. We now fully have the technology to do everything from coding to billing to auditing, all from home, all in an industry where it has proven itself to be recession-proof time and time again. No prerequisites, no experience, no degree. It's all just crazy. But listen, if what you also want is economic safety for the future, you have got to get more than one skill. You have got to broaden your knowledge base. I'm teaching you this with power like this because I know exactly what having multiple skills has done for my quality of life. I'm speaking to you here with conviction because I know how mastering each of these different skills drastically multiplied my income. If you're serious about laying a foundation now for a future fortune later, as you saw with the financial lessons from a bit ago, get as many skills as you can. Now get this, each credential dispenses a different skill set, so get yourself to a place where you can execute with higher levels of contributions. Each and every credential I ever attained had everything to do with opening a wealth of doors for me. From coder to biller to claims analyst to auditor to trainer and then trainer and then trainer. I swear I became a trainer of absolutely everything I was ever hired to do. But to director, to sales, to teacher, to speaker, to author, to product inventor, to YouTuber, to business owner, opening my own school. And trust me, I'm not done. I've got so much more up my sleeve. And you will too. I'm getting all worked up. Okay, so the point is, each skill set is only going to energize you and propel you into higher levels of success. One last thing and I'll close. All right? And by the way, I hear it all the time. Mrs. Ortega, these are some very modest prices in comparison for their substantial fortunes. Mrs. Ortega, these are very modest prices for the value that they're going to bring. Life's rewards already gave me the exact proportion of my contributions. Remember? The only reason I have the peace of mind to sit here and not only develop all of this for you all, but actually deliver all of these teachings to you is because I've already achieved in all aspects of my life. I've already reached the mental, the physical, the spiritual, and even the financial freedom that it took to get here. Here being a place of genuine desire to make these same freedoms happen for you too. Stay tuned because, no one should live a small life due to lack of knowledge. Listen to this, get this, you do not have to live the next 5 years of your life the way you've lived the last 5 years. Your current circumstances are not it for you. So rejoice, because next we teach you how to do all of this. This is where we separate the spectators from the doers. And it won't be for everyone, but if inside you right now burns a hunger, well, then I'll see you next time. God bless you all.